Welcome to our new video. In this video we are going to talk about Samsung Galaxy M53 5G. So without wasting any time, let's get started. This is the Samsung Galaxy M53, a mid-ranger which sits at a lower level than the S-series models but is still generally strong specs-wise. We've seen a lot of these mid-range phones come and go, so what's new about the Galaxy M53? And is it a decent upgrade from last year's model? The Galaxy M53 is the sequel to last year's Galaxy M52 5G, but despite the name, this one is also 5G capable. It's only not right in front of you here, and that might trip up some people. The M53 brings a pretty standard mid-range design. The back is made of plastic and is flat but curves consistently into the square camera bump. The frame is also plastic and glossy. The phone is moderately light and feels thin in the hand. The screen is basically the same as last year. It's a 6.7-inch AMOLED covered by Gorilla Glass 5 with a 1080p resolution and a 120Hz refresh rate. The high refresh rate smooths out movement like swiping and scrolling. And there's even support for high frame rate gaming here. In any case, the refresh rate is not adaptive and won't dial down to save energy. Very much like on the past model, this display is respectable. It's sharp and contrasty. The color here can be genuinely accurate in the event that you play with them in settings. There is no HDR support here except for there is a Widevine L1 certificate for full HD streaming. The brightness of this screen is decent. We estimated 400 nits most extreme with the manual slider, and this lifts to 800 nits in auto mode when in bright sun. Very much like last year, the M53 has no earphone jack and there's simply a single speaker. The speaker is not that loud. Scoring is average on our graphs. The sound quality does seem to be a bit better this time around. However, for biometrics, the Galaxy M53 uses a side-mounted fingerprint built into the power button. It works well. And for storage, you get the choice of 128 or 256 GB on board, and yes, that is expandable. The user interface of the Galaxy M53 is no surprise. It's Samsung's most recent One UI 4.1 based on Android 12. It's feature-packed and comes with Samsung software support as well. One of the greatest changes compared with the past model is a new chipset. While the M52 had a Snapdragon 778G, the M53 has a MediaTek Dimensity 900. It gives 5G network like before. But overall, it is a downgrade when it comes to both CPU and GPU performance. Still, the chipset is fit enough, especially for your everyday task. On the graphs, it's in a similar ballpark as this year's other Galaxy mid-ranges. Basically, there's some consolation in that the others are also lower on the graph compared with their predecessors. Very much like last year, the M53 has a 5,000 mAh battery limit. The battery duration is not exactly as great, but still strong with an endurance rating of 114 hours in our exclusive tests. The charging speed has also gone down a bit for some unknown reasons, and there's no adapter in the box. This year the charging is evaluated up to 25 watts, no change from before, and with such an adapter we had the option to charge the M53 from 0 to 44% in 30 minutes. The last change we will discuss here is with the cameras. You get a higher resolution main camera but minimize in the resolution of the ultra-wide and micro cameras. Here's the overall arrangement: a 108 megapixel main camera with OIS, a 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera, a 2 megapixel micro camera, and a depth sensor. Photos from the main camera in daylight is very grayed out, so with great colors, good contrast, low noise, and great dynamic range. However, the ultra-wide camera works effectively. Its colors are a little punchier than the main cameras and the dynamic range isn't quite as wide, but these are still really good at this price range. Here are some photos from the 2 megapixel micro camera, and as you'd expect, there's not much of detail at this resolution. In low light, photos from the main camera are on the dark side with limited dynamic range. The detail is okay in the mid-tones, but soft and noisy in the shadows. Shots from the ultra-wide at night are not great. They are extremely dull with smothered features. The varieties are desaturated and the detail is delicate and loud. There are a few enhancements to be had through night mode. Features are cut down shadows, get a lift, and color come back life. Still, the detail level is not good. 12 megapixel selfies come from the 32 megapixel front camera. They are not bad with some noise in darker areas, but generally great detail, wide dynamic range, and great exposure. The back main camera can record video in up to 4K resolution at 30 FPS. The quality is very decent with great detail, great colors, and wide dynamic range. The ultra-wide is limited to 1080p resolution, and his recording is okay. It's generally a bit soft, but we like the colors and dynamic range. There's no adjustment in 4K. Balanced out 1080p clips from the main camera display some occasional focus hunting. The ultra-wide camera doesn't experience the ill effects of that. So that is the Samsung Galaxy M53. You get a bright 120Hz AMOLED, great battery duration, and Samsung software support. But is that sufficiently even to be competitive these days? Maybe not. You don't get famous features like sound system speakers or an earphone jack. The M53 is a downgrade from the past model when it's come to the chipset and the overall camera quality. If you liked the video, give the big thumbs up and make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching guys, and see you on the next one.